The fighting is over, the shouting has stopped. The gates stand open. Smoke drifts through streets that were still alive hours ago. For the people still standing, this is not relief. This is the moment they begin to understand that something worse is happening. The enemy has not come to finish the killing. They have come to take control. Homes are searched, names are recorded, doors are sealed, and one by one, the rules of life they once knew disappear. By the end, you'll see that surviving a Roman conquest was rarely the end. What came after was designed to endure. Moments like this are rarely remembered because they happen quietly. Have you ever wondered what conquest truly meant? To understand that, we must look at what Rome did next. Rome did not conquer cities through chaos, revenge, or uncontrolled violence. Its expansion followed a system, refined over generations, designed to turn victory into permanence. When a city fell, it did not come under Roman rule overnight. It passed through a process governed by military authority, political law, and strict discipline. For Rome, conquest was never only about defeating enemies, it was about reorganizing people. From the moment the gates opened, property, freedom, and identity existed under Roman authority. Those inside the walls were no longer citizens of a city. They were subjects of an empire. The first act of control was division, not by age, not by wealth, but by behavior. Those who resisted, those who surrendered, those who cooperated. This single judgment shaped everything that followed. Resistance carried consequences that could last a lifetime. Early surrender offered survival, but never trust. Cooperation brought usefulness, but never equality. The city itself changed just as quickly. What had once been a community became something managed and controlled. Local leadership disappeared, councils dissolved, officials were removed, existing laws were suspended. Rome did not share power, it replaced it. Justice now came from Rome. Punishment came from Rome, permission came from Rome, and there was no appeal. Decisions once made in public assemblies were now made far away by authorities who would never live with their consequences. Ownership changed as well. Land was seized, measured, and reassigned. Some families remained in their homes, others lost everything. Fields became assets, houses became rewards. What had sustained generations could vanish without explanation. Survival continued, but only with conditions. Taxes increased, labor was demanded, supplies were taken. Food, tools, and materials were no longer simply local resources. They were redirected to sustain Rome's expansion elsewhere. Men were forced into service, not only as soldiers, but as builders of roads, fortifications, and transport networks. Families were separated not always by violence, but by obligation. The city did not rebuild itself, it rebuilt Rome. Every repaired road, every carried stone, every redirected supply served a purpose far beyond the city's walls, and Rome's presence never truly disappeared. Garrisons remained. Patrols watched the streets. Records preserved names, property, and duty. Every action was observed, not to inspire terror, but to establish certainty. Certainty that resistance would be seen. Certainty that disobedience would be remembered. Certainty that Roman rule was permanent. Rome's greatest power was not spectacle or destruction. It was quiet permanence. The true point of no return did not arrive with noise or violence. It arrived when land was formally claimed, when Roman law replaced local custom, when names were entered into imperial records. From that moment forward, the city no longer existed as it once had. It had become a Roman possession, not merely conquered, but absorbed, and there was no path back. Life continued as it always does. Markets reopened, homes were rebuilt, children were born into a different world. Daily routines returned, but under new rules. Over time, resistance faded, not because people agreed, but because memory changed. Languages shifted, customs adapted, traditions softened. Local histories were rewritten, sometimes deliberately, sometimes simply forgotten. Rome did not erase cities overnight. It replaced them slowly. One generation adjusted, the next accepted, the next remembered nothing else. And after a generation, many no longer recalled life before Rome. That was the true victory. Roman conquest endured not because everything was destroyed, but because everything was reorganized. Power relied not on constant brutality, but on structure, law, and time. The stories of what followed conquest are rarely told, because they are quieter than battles, yet far more enduring. Rome did not simply conquer cities, it transformed them, until resistance became memory, and memory became silence. Empires were sustained not by victory alone, but by what followed it. If you want more documentaries exploring power, memory, and control, you can subscribe and tell me, was this truly conquest or something else?